It's 2 minutes gone past here with 9 o'clock in the morning in the studios of Classic, a Classic 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you wherever you are. Possibly good afternoon, good night, and depending on which part of the diaspora that you are listening from. I'm Joseph Cadore, and welcome to another episode of To The Point for today, the 11th day of the month of February. And it is a pleasure being here with you on this wonderful, glorious, fantastic Friday morning. Friday, we let you winding down the week, and for the purpose of today's engagement, we'll be extending to you an open line forum. Open line giving you the opportunity to share your thoughts on matters of national interest, matters of concern to you, observations, public observations, and any issue you probably feel necessary that that needs to be brought to the attention of the general public. We do encourage you that when you call, that you respect each other's opinions and their position. The same way you have the right to make a call and would listen to you, each and every other person do have the right to do the same. And again, I want to remind you that when you do choose to call in, that we conduct the conversation via the telephone and whatever device, or whether it's a radio, your laptop, whatever it is that you're listening, you're engaging us on, that you move away from the device and let's conduct the conversation via the telephone. The number in studio, 435-2041. We have a caller that's on the line. We go straight to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're alive.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, Joe, I'm calling on the government of Grenada and the Prime Minister, whoever, to pay the teachers their dog salary and let us have sports return to the schools. Now, I'm a retired teacher, I work for 39 years teaching sports and skills and stuff,
Right.
And now I'm retired, I can't see my grandchildren on the field, I can't see my grandchildren perform, So I'm concerned about that. So swallow your pride and pay the teachers back the dog salary and let us have sports in the primary school and secondary school. We miss intercall. Our fields are well cut. The fields are in good condition, but nothing is good on most of the fields, especially in the rural areas.
Right.
The primary school sports, the local schools used to be big. Children used to enjoy themselves. This is not happening again. Children are getting fat. They are getting, obese. They're not playing. They're not running about. So we need, the government to just swallow your pride and pay the teachers the dog salary. Let us have sports in the schools again.
Thank you.
Another point.
Go ahead.
In St. Andrews, we still have a guy by the name of teaching children to play pan. Now, he asked me, I could call his name. His name is George. He used to do a very good job in the schools. In the Methodist school, children from all other schools around the area used to come down and learn to play pan. They have a very good, they are very good at playing pan, especially around carnival time. These children used to line the streets of Grenville and play patriotic songs around Independence time. And it used to sound very, very good, And most of the children in secondary school, they learn to play pan through him. Now, he used to work with Ministry of Culture, but then when a certain government came into power, they have no use for him again, The schools used to pay, the principal used to ask teachers to contribute and pay a little stipend, but this is not happening again. So we need the Ministry of Education or Ministry of Culture to have this man. This man is at home doing nothing, right? And he's a very good, teacher, pan. So we need to have pan back in our schools, especially St. Andrews.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Two excellent points made there by the caller, and I support them wholeheartedly. I do agree that there need to be an engaging of the minds to teachers and the government, all the stakeholders, as it relates to not just the doctrine of the salaries, but what's the current state of our education system. Some punctuated because of COVID-19, but there are others literally that's been in the pipeline long before. And I think very often, I remember from my old alma mater, Mr. Ashby always did say that sports is education away from the classroom, and certainly it helps to keep there's the health component of it. It helps to keep you free, think clearly. It re-energizes, and certainly it's important that we look at all facets of development for our students. 435-2041, that is the number that is on the inside. Reminding you to get in on the inside, you can also make your contributions via the WhatsApp portal. The WhatsApp portal, same as the in-studio number, 435-2041. Good morning, caller. You are live. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. You are live.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your introduction. Hey, listen, Mr. Cadore, good morning, greetings.
Good morning to you, sir.
Listen, a very significant point made by your last caller there. Very, very significant. But we have to understand that the country is being ruled by a group of people who have absolutely no interest. Note what I'm saying, because I'm meticulous with my words. Absolutely no interest in creating a well-rounded, as we used to call it back then, student. Because creating a well-rounded educational system to enhance the ability of the young people to think and to create for themselves is not in the interest of these people. They have destroyed the education system. Listen, yesterday you heard the news. History, West Indian history, as we termed it before, and even our local history. They're now realizing that the whole thing is in the drain, in the gutter. Mathematics, we have failed, right, wrong. For years we've been failing. Education, the English language, our own official language, quote unquote. A disastrous failure has been this administration for the past 10 years. I remember in 2012 there was about the amount of licking that the previous administration got for their failures. Oh, well, hallelujah. It's been how many years now? 8 or 9. We're going on to 10. And nothing has changed. As a matter of fact, it's gone worse all. But anyway, that wasn't a significant point. Let me do the real thing here fast. 2 years ago, my dear brother, Grenadians, we went into a state of a medical and health emergency that triggered the state with the so-called authority to create what was a national and continues to be a national state of emergency, a so-called constitutional instrument. Today, these dangers do not exist because everything is back to normal. Take a look. The planes are coming in normally. They expect to extend that service soon. The boats are coming in and going to. People are doing what they want, going with it. People are getting on with their lives where they get employment to take it. My question, therefore, what justifies, tell me, brothers and sisters in this country, what, therefore, justifies a state of emergency in Grenada up to me? I beg this question. And I wish the government will answer it. Give us reasons, because you see the state of emergency creates conditions for them to, and they've done it, suspend the Fiscal Responsibility Act. That means that nobody monitors how they treat and deal with the people's funds. No, nobody. They can do what they want with it. And this is a powerful question that Grenadians have to ask themselves and comment on. What justifies a continued state of emergency in this here country? I leave that little lollipop with you, Mr. Joseph Cadore. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. So have a great weekend. 435-2041 is the number on the inside. Remind you can also submit your contributions via the WhatsApp portal or via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. And yourself?
I'm blessed.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I just want to make a little contribution this morning.
Sure.
Concerning the high prices and the shares.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you hear most of us complain here. And then you have a group of people will march up over there with here. But listen, the people over there, when they walk and they retire 65 years, they have a good pension to go home and relax. They have a health check without no problem, right? Thank God and at that, does have a little reduced prices regular here, so we could get a little sometime a little sugar reduced. Only that much. Just imagine you have to pay This morning I heard a man say he go to buy a tin of sardine and 10 cents less than $500, than $5. Come on. People have to talk. If people don't talk, you know what will happen to them here? And when the people and them want to compare here with over there with the price, they're not giving you hope. Because when you go, just imagine you have people in this country walk, and when the month up, they're getting $185 from NIS. They say they put in little, so they get in. Right? The people satisfied, they're not fighting with nobody. They satisfy the one with a 185 a month. So let them express themselves to release some stress.
Okay.
Because it's really, really hard. When you check on the prices of the goods in the shop, it's real high. And our government could help. They could reduce the 15%, check out a little 5% and give us a little 10% on the regular goods on the shelf. And the people in the supermarket go drop it. So we go breathe easy, we go feel better. Come on, and you don't know it's hard, you used to have $5 and you're buying a pack of crisps and you're getting a tin of biscuit. No, the $5 alone only the tariff. So let us talk and express ourselves, please, because people want to take a head joke if they don't talk. Have a good morning, my brother.
Thank you very much. And I do encourage the point of talking, conversing. And I'm not just saying having a conversation live on the radio, but I think we need to want to encourage individuals to find a way to exhale. Say what's on your mind, whether it's family, through friends, different social grouping. It helps to, release some of the pressure and the tension, not just financial issues, but just mental, physical. Just find a way to exhale. Good morning, caller. You are live. Welcome to the program.
Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
I don't want to comment on what people have said, because some of them are true and I could reinforce it. But I have some things there. For example, the lady that called, she's right. But, what I'm looking at, if you grow your own food, do you have to import? And these things, the people are importing too much food. Look, for us, because we cannot supply our own needs, basic needs. And for that matter, if we are working and we work diligently and what should I say? Searching for the word. Anyhow, we work and we produce. We have less to import. And obviously, if we have perhaps a glut, then the prices would go down. So we need people to work in Grenada, work honestly and sincerely. Okay?
But are you saying that people are not working honestly and sincerely?
The majority. And what they want, I didn't say all. Some.
But the point that the caller made has to do with the cost of living. And yes, while I agree that we have to do more to produce locally, that's a medium to long-term objective. But in the meantime, things, as I said, things coconius.
But we should have been doing that long. We should have been educated. You see, all of us believe that education is only academic education. We should have been educated to know that if we produce or if we grow our own things, we don't have to spend and we don't have to use so much external force to get money. Yes, you need money.
Right.
You need it. In fact, I want to say, and I'm saying it, that opinion is not facts. People tend to believe that opinion is facts and astray. But let me come back to what I'm saying. But I'm warning you, opinion is not facts.
Okay, sir.
Let me continue. Now I've looked at, even in Grenada, I've heard many things people talking about education, and that's a fact. Everybody who has 10 and 20 subjects in Grenada believe they are educated. And I've listened to people talking. I'm not saying I'm educated, but I'm better than a million of them. Now, when I look at the words, and I've said it already, independent and independence, they have different parts of speech, and they cannot be used the same way and say independent and independent where you should say the right word. I wouldn't say. I've also listened to your program. When I say your program on your media, that people talking about, I'm educated in the University of the West Indies or Kville or some college in America. So what you telling me, when I say you, maybe you might be saying it too, that education only begins at the end. When you go in university, I think you are being educated even by your mother. Is that true? When your mother is the first part.
Well, I would say to you that that education is a process.
Yes, so it begins with at home.
It starts from the time you
from the cradle
from one being in the belly.
Definitely.
So it's a process that only ends at death.
Yeah. So when somebody tell me, big people like.
But I think we understand. No, you
cannot assume that people understand.
No. Let's not complicate this and try to just deviate from the realities. Education is relative in a lot of sense. So let's not what your area of expertise that you might be educated in may not be my area of expertise.
Well, let me give you a job.
I say that I'm educated in the particular. A person is a lawyer, they're a doctor, they're a fisherman. Education can be achieved by different means.
Okay.
Some things you learn through a structured educational facility or through experience. So good.
Now, you telling me that maybe you give me the idea that people could be educated in one field. Let me tell you something about me, and I'm making it in a brief thing. I could do nearly at least 10 different things, and I could work for money, and I work with Nicholas Buffett in the house. I work and I build truck tray, and I never been to a formal school for that. Let me just back myself.
Well, as we've said,
as
we have said, caller, that education is the attainment of knowledge, and knowledge can be obtained through different facilities. So you can be accredited through a specific institution of learning, or you can get knowledge through experience. So let's not worry too much.
Wrong development individual. That's what education is, not the academic development. It includes academic.
So you cannot say it. No, you see, we allow ourselves to get emotionally distracted.
I'm not emotionally. What I'm
saying, so you cannot say that education is not about going to school. That's one facet of education.
Did I say you don't have to go to school? I didn't say that. That's what you
got
interpret.
the sense as though, I just want to clear the air on it, sir.
Okay.
I got the sense as though you're suggesting that there's no place for that.
Okay. There's no place for education?
435-2041, 20 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. Sometimes the very same people that remind us that our opinions are not factual, sometimes we find ourselves expressing quite openly our opinions about things, and we somehow seem to assume that it should be accepted as being factual. 435-2041, that is the number that is on the inside. It is Friday. It is the 11th day of the month of February. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're live.
Yes, Joe. You mentioned in your introduction about observation. I listened to the GBN, and I've been hearing an ad that is dealing with the COVID. And they're saying that COVID is here to stay. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't nowhere to go. And I think it is very irresponsible, because the Bible tells you that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And for you to make such a statement over and over, as though we have to be careful with our words, what we say, COVID will go. Because we don't believe in God, we believe in I don't know who we believe in. We figure we can just do what we want, say what we want, but we have to be responsible. I wish they could stop running this thing.
Which part of the promotion, in your estimation, is responsible.
They should not be promoting anything like that. They should not be promoting anything. Listen, I cannot stay along with on the cell phone.
But just to clear the air on the promotion, that COVID is here to stay expresses to you that, listen, it's a long-term battle. We've been through this for 2 years.
To stay. That's what he said, to stay.
Okay, Ms.
But
Jama,
Joe, this is wrong.
If you don't agree with it,
I rebuke that in the name of
22 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. If your life allows you to assume that COVID is going to be here for a week, how long is it here to stay? How long is it? And sometimes 22 minutes gone past the hour. Breathe. Reminding you that the number on the inside, 435-2041, or you can submit your comments via the WhatsApp portal. Let me see what's happening here on social media. Before I do that, I'll summarize that, but let me take the caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'd just like to express my disgust as to what's happening on Karani James Boulevard. I don't know how many more of these oil wrecks and boats they're going to allow to be up on the seaside. It really is not looking good. And more of them come in every day. Many years ago, there was a lady called Betsy Frisbee, an American lady who lived here. She paid John Quisick to plant a whole bunch of beautiful trees, which are so beautiful when they're flowering. But with what's going on there, at one time the business community there used to take on themselves and keep the place clean, cut the grass and keep it clean. But when they saw what was happening and couldn't do anything about it, they just quit. And I don't know how many more oil wrecks and, like I say, boats are going to bring up there before they do something about it. But it's not an enjoyable place to pass. Mm-hmm. I used to enjoy it, looking at the boats, looking at the beautiful trees and whatnot. At least those that are left after the road cleaners hacked half of them. So I just like to, express this concern, and I hope the authorities will look into it and do something about it, and it could go back to people used to refer to as a park.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
All right,
this contribution coming via social media, calling for an investigation and inquiry into the festival board that it is dubbed in Carriacou and Petite Martinique, that this person say is not serving the interests of the people, but one man who benefits himself all the times. No transparency with or accountability with the funds coming in or what goes on or been happening for years. And this person is calling on the powers that be to have a serious investigation on what he does as the festival board that exists in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. 435-2041, that's the number on the inside. Reminding you that you can make your contributions via the WhatsApp portal as well. The number being 425, same as the in-studio number. 25 minutes gone past the hour, though. We take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to engage your thoughts on whatever issue or matters of national interest that you care to share about. To the point, we'll be right back.
Get ready for a season of Grooving Smooth and Live on GBN. Grooving Smooth and Live is a 1-hour performance gig every Thursday from 8 p.m. featuring performances from our local musicians and short interviews discussing all things musical. Every Thursday, a different musician and a different instrument will be featured, from the violin to the saxophone to the trumpet, guitar, and steel pan. Our local musicians playing, improvising, and educating us on all genres of music. Join GBN with host musicians Matthias and Shireen, and a special guest every Thursday at 8 p.m. It's Grooving Smooth and Live on GBN.
welcome back to the program, To The Point, for today, the 11th day of the month of February. It's an open line forum, and have a caller that's waiting on the line. Good morning, caller. You alive?
Good morning, Joseph. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you, sir.
Joseph, my concern is that the piece of road from Red Gate towards the Westerhall Secondary School. Shaggy, I'm calling on the relevant, I said Shaggy, sorry, Joseph, I'm calling on the relevant authorities, please, to look at that piece of road in between that area. Joseph, there is too much accidents, and the way the drivers drive around here is unbearable. So I'm asking the relevant authorities, please put some sleeping police on that piece of road, because the way how they speed here, a few Saturdays ago there were 4 vehicular accidents here. In fact, 4 vehicles were had to towed away. First, they were smashed up. 4 vehicles, and this is not the first time. I have seen so many vehicles run off the road right around that area, after you pass, especially if you pass the Good Shepherd Catholic Church. So I guess I'm calling on the police or the Ministry of Works, who normally put in these sleeping police, to do so. Because there will be some serious accidents for what I see happening on the road, and the overtaking on that road, that piece of road here. I like for the authorities, please, before something real serious happens, to put some sleeping police coming down from the Red Gate area towards the Westerhall Secondary School. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you very much, sir. All the best to you. To the point, the number in the studio is 435-2041. Let's just look at what's happening via the WhatsApp portal. This contributor says mathematics and science subjects was taught before. Teachers at the Presentation Brothers College, they make reference to Mrs. Reynolds worked with us extra time to ensure we excel. Today, it is low rated. Minister, tell us why. I know it's because your administration doesn't want us to be on top. If you wanted that, you would ensure teachers were respected, well treated, and well paid. A contribution coming via the WhatsApp portal. Engage in WhatsApp again. It says, good morning. The majority of men are lazy and don't want to work and like hands out. And parents have to be blamed for they lime, eat, and watch TV and gamble. Interesting observation, indeed. Interesting observation. Again, we go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're live, caller. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Morning.
Yes, caller. Go ahead. You're live.
Joseph.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, the government should put cameras up there in the Red Gate area so they can raise all the taxes and money that they need. And also, the people who are listening, they can get a tablet or capsule by ordering it through the pharmacy or their doctor or through the Ministry of Health, and get the capsule in case they don't want to take the jab. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. All the best to you. 29 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. To the point, Friday, the 11th day of the month of January. It's an open line forum this morning, giving you an opportunity to share on matters of national interest, an observation or anything that you probably think it worthy to be shared with the general public. Again, you can post your comments, as you have been doing, on the WhatsApp portal, or you can do it via the Facebook portal, just to share. Antonio Peter says it's not about God, it's about Constitution and about foolishness and about what he could build or do. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You alive?
Good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir.
I want to raise 2 issues.
Go ahead.
The first thing is the noise syndrome that Grenada North is suffering from because of reckless, lawless citizens. For instance, there is a number of vehicles, both private and public, that travel the public road, and the vibration in the overload noise, sometimes it shakes all the entrails in your belly. Sometimes it hurts your head. And these vehicles pass any hour of the day, any hour of the night, and distract citizens, making it a menace to people in our society. For instance, in the public vehicles, buses, I think it's 20 watts output should be the capacity for the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's a simple thing to do. The buses go to the national bus terminal that is in St. George's. The police can simply make a snap check of buses. And once you get any vehicle with any equipment beyond the 20 watts, you extract it and you charge the owner. And within a week, all these vehicles will take out the noise from the buses. Some of them, they take it off, they take out the system, and they go and inspect, and then they put it back. The police should have the right to stop a bus anytime at the police convenience to make a snap check of this kind of noise syndrome. And those private vehicles, the government has to put laws in place to stop this noise. It is definitely a sign of recklessness and lawlessness in a small country like that. That can be handled easily, and it's becoming worse and worse and worse. That's the first thing. The next thing I want to talk about is I'm asking the supervisor of election to come on radio and outline in very clear terms voter eligibility for upcoming elections. For instance, we know at 18 years, if you are Grenadian or a Commonwealth citizen residing in Grenada for over 1 year, you may register to vote. But there are certain behaviors being observed over the years. Plane loads of people coming down from New York or London or Toronto and just vote and go back because their name is on the list. I am wondering whether or not, if I am a Grenadian, a citizen of the United States, living there for 10 years, I could just come down, register, go back up, and then come down and vote, just so, without leaving here for any specific time prior to election. I think we can be swarmed by overseas voters coming down to Grenada and vote because their name is on the list. I think this should be clarified.
And I do agree with you about the issue of clarity and eligibility. The issue of persons residing outside the country and their eligibility factor, that too must be clearly defined.
Clarified.
You did make reference to persons living in the U.S., but as you can well appreciate, the U.S. electoral system does make allowance for persons outside of the U.S. to cast their ballots. So I think the issue is not where you are to vote, but the process that allows eligibility factor conversation must be the one that must be, and I agree with you, that should be clearly spelled out.
Yes.
Yes?
So if perhaps you can get the police to come and deal with that noise syndrome, and you can get the supervisor of election to come anytime, I think Grenadians will gain a lot.
And even the issue regarding the noise, I know a couple of years ago, there was the Noise Pollution Act, and I guess the question is that of enforcement. I know the police years ago, they were on a campaign to address
I think it was in 2006 or something there, the Noise Pollution Act came into effect. But long before that, we have the British laws. I know a little boy And people have the little bamboo radio with a bamboo antenna that 60, 70 years ago. You couldn't make noise in the neighborhood.
I think what is needed,
and the
honestly,
police will come and stop you.
I think honestly what is needed is not just the police. It has to be an all-round appreciation for the health challenge that's posed by excessively loud music.
Loud music.
If you get onto a public transport and it is too loud, listen, you have the right there and then. Driver, turn it down.
Yes.
If he refuses to, then you take the necessary action. And the
police just make snap check on buses.
I'm agreeing. Because a couple years ago they got into the culture of removing it, but I guess the question is consistency, and
it's becoming worse. It is becoming worse.
It is a problem that indeed has resurfaced. Thank you, caller.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Same to you.
22 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock. Indeed, the issue of the loud music on public transportation, it is one that has raised this ugly head again, and not just in public transportation. I think loud music on a whole, I mean, people just seem to be so totally indiscriminate about what they do, how they play music. If you want to play your music in your home, yes, fine. In the buses especially, it is becoming totally obnoxious. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Yeah, Joe, one thing something your last caller mentioned that popped something up in my head. I would like to know from the electoral office if citizens by investment are eligible to vote. If they are, how many of them are in Grenada? How many of them are registered to vote? Because that is a bad influence would be a bad influence on our electoral system. So I would like to know how many of them and if they are eligible to vote.
Thank you, caller. Great question. 21 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock, and certainly that's a conversation we'll seek to facilitate here on the GBN. But we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live. Good morning, caller. You're live.
There we go. Good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir.
I want to make a statement here, particularly to the police. I was just reliably informed by a good Samaritan that one of the bunches of figs that have outside green bananas I'm referring to here has lost half all of a sudden, Mr. Cadore. They walk into the little place that I have custody of. I'm saying this publicly, that Grenadians understand what is happening in this country. I can't walk again. Well, not that I can't work, but they want to give me work because they say I'm blind. They're thieving my coconut. I can't get one coconut to drink, Mr. Cadore. No, they're cutting my banana. Well, they not know, but they're doing it day after day, month after month, cutting my bananas and going with it, Mr. Cadore. Well, when will this thing stop? And you call the police and they're asking me, a blind man, if I have a suspect. For Christ's sake, in this country, what is happening? That is what I eat, vegetables. That is what I eat. That's why I'm trying my best. Taking a pinch out of my little poor pension to pay people to plant these things, and I can't eat them, Mr. Cadore. What is that in this here country? Until when? Until when? No need calling the police because they come and asking me. Come and ask me if I have a suspect, for Christ's sake. But I'm saying this so the Grenadians understand the direction that we go in. If we don't correct this mess that's taking place in this country and put some discipline in this here country by reconstituting the nation to put laws into place that those who want to steal people's property should go into a palco. I talk about a penal agricultural labor colony where they learn to work plans and make their own money. That's the direction this country has to go. Thank you very much and have a nice day, will you?
Thank you very much, caller. 20 minutes onto the hour in the morning time. We go to social media. This contributor says the police are only making excuses about noise pollution and they're not doing anything about it. Just like the derelict vehicles on the side of the roads. On the sides of the roads, they are more concerned about seat belts and locking wheels in the tongue of St. George. It is true that some busmen play loud music on the bus, and the kind of music, no respect. I was on holiday with my children, and the kind of songs, music I heard. 435-2041. We go back to the telephone line. Hey, good morning, caller. You're alive.
Greeting, brother Joseph Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir.
And thanks again. Final day of the week. Thank God for that. I call not too much in a happy mode because I'm trying to, I want to say upset, but the spiritual aspect of life and also recognize it's clear now. Clear because most of the issues being raised, including education, agriculture, as all your brothers now talk about, decades problems. That before decades, 3 decades. So it's the same thing. So we ask, where is the solution? But however, I forced to call back on the issue of the election, and I recognize it's also a concern for you. And because I'm going down now in my activity, I can say more about who I am, but I just want to cool it down. Because I have written extensively and I have been participating in constitutional issues and electoral issues, and I've been calling for change years back. I don't know who have been following. But I want to develop education to the general public, those who are keen about the Constitution and particularly the election coming up. And take note of what I'm saying. In terms of the elect being able to vote, you don't have to have the electoral office coming to you. Because as I've said time and time again, they're not truthful. And I want you to rely on your own. Now, the Constitution, around Section 30, but in particular, Section 32, and I want you to take note, those of you who are asking questions. Go there, and you will see under Section 30, the criteria, more or less, from a constitutional point of view, for being able to vote. Section 30. But go to the Representation of the People's Act. Go there, and you will see under Section 6, entitlement to registration. And let me give here 2 points. In terms of the electoral system and your entitlement, there are two important aspects of it, two main important aspects. One is the right to be registered, and two, the right to vote. Now, to be registered under Section 6 of the Representation of the People's Act, Section Cap 286, that Act. And by the way, okay, let me continue here. The point. Subject, a person shall be entitled to be registered as an elector in any one constituency if he, and I will add she, one is a citizen of Grenada or it is a Commonwealth citizen. I will try to cut what I'm saying. C has obtained the age of 18 years. D, ordinary resident. I'm going down to say to you that he has to be here, residing here for a period of at least 12 months immediately before the date of his or her registration. I want to know that. You don't have to have the electoral office come to tell you that. They will not give you the real truth. In fact, Brother Joe, Cadore, 2 or 3 weeks ago, in your broadcast, I think it was, you had the officer and an officer from the electoral office giving a statement. I was totally upset. And I can't challenge him, and I have concerns. And it was my emotion to call your radio station to refute what he said and for you to have a statement on it. I told myself, let me play it cool. Okay. But now I'm saying to you, he made a point, giving the misinformation out to the public that any term Dick, and Harry, once they're Commonwealth citizens from Dominica, from wherever over the world, can come to be registered to vote. No, he was too open. There are some limitations. You have to be here at least 12 months qualified before, and that is that valid loophole that caused our voters list to be so elevated, to be so high. And what he did, he said to you have to have your ID card. In the last election, or last two elections, but more, it was more prominent, 2018. I was the only one, I don't want to brag, who said it was not right. They went before the election and said you can vote without a card.
Well, I still think, and I do really do appreciate, I think we will still need to get, because that's why we have officials, public officials that we depend on. If it is found that they are deliberately disseminating incorrect information, then I would certainly there would be processes in place to deal with that processes. But we certainly would make all efforts as we have public officials that we would trust. And I'm assuming, I'm hoping that individuals like yourself who are in a position of knowledge that you could work along with those authorities, so that at least we ensure that public officials are held accountable for disseminating the correct information. But we do appreciate, and I'm thinking it calls for a collective approach, not an individual approach, a collective approach in educating the public on those matters of civics.
But Joe, thanks, but let me just say two things to end, or make the point. Yes, no. I have been writing and advocating publicly and having a forum to deal with the Constitution and the electoral.
Well, here's what I suggest. If you've been doing it years, no, it has not been working. Then we need to either change the approach, or maybe instead of doing it as an individual, maybe you get a body. Maybe I'm just suggesting. If it's not working one way, then I always say you change. You could try to attempt to do the same thing over and over and not yielding results is a formula for lunacy. So I would suggest that you try a different approach if in fact that you are truly concerned about implementing and instituting some change here, sir.
But hold on, sorry for time. I don't want to cause other people. Civil society have been doing that, and I am part of it.
Saying, sir, and keep saying it needs to be a continuous conversation.
It has been there all the time.
So we have to keep doing it.
Our authorities, including even maybe your media, because allocation needs to be given to the point at one time it used to be there for civil society to talk about these issues. We can have only one set of people being there. So
okay. When it comes as it relates to the point, all you have to do, sir, and I think you're fully much aware of that, and the other members that's fully much aware of that. If you so desire to be part of the program, the same way you call in now, you can call me after, whatever agency you represent, and say we would like to make a booking, and we can do that. You and I know it's a very simple process.
Okay, all the best, but I'm happy that you give me time to let the public know that they can go to the Constitution, go to the Representation of the People's Act, and they can see that what they're entitled to, and they have to be very careful about the misinformation that is being given by the Parliamentary Election Office.
Thank you very, very much, sir. not 20 minutes, it's 10 minutes onto the hour in the morning time. We continue to wherever you are, remind you that COVID-19 is an ever-present threat. The Omicron variant it is out there, and certainly while we appreciate that it is not as debilitating as the Delta and previous variants, certainly want to encourage the persons to try their best to stay safe. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Yeah, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, I want to remind you, your people that's listening, especially Citizen Rolo, he can get a camera at the Trade Center and shame those thieves. When he gets a camera, you can put them on the internet, the Trade Center selling cameras, and shame them all, and send it straight to the police that the student is forgery. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. onto the hour in the morning time. It's to the point. It is Friday. It's an open line. Let's see what engagements there is via the WhatsApp portal. Reminding you, if you're getting an opportunity to share your thoughts. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
I know, my dear caller, but the thing is, and I will tell you this in Grenadian, I ain't walking no way. Thank you nonetheless.
52041, that is the number that is on the inside, giving you an opportunity to engage and be part of a conversation, matters of national interest. Yesterday we had the police, they were on, and it was interesting to find that so many things that we adopt and we engage in as culture that is, well, in fact, based on the laws of the land, is transgressions. We're breaking the laws. In fact, the culture of loitering, parking on the side of the road. Interesting conversation that we are going to continue next week, no doubt. We keeping the eyes on the clock because we're getting ready to round up the program in just a bit. Someone continues to ask about the issue of the COVID protocols within the schools. My response to that would be, if you have a child or children that's attending a particular school, my first encouragement would be to touch base with the schools, because the ministry, there is protocols and guidelines that is there that all schools are encouraged to follow. So I would suggest you start there as to inquire what are the protocols that's laid out by the ministry, and determine whether or not the school, the institution that your child or children attend, whether or not those protocols are being engaged. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
The education is inferior education, because the former slave masters and children will never give us education that will keep us from him, because we are not featured in the education system. If I ask some of the students the first university in on the planet, many of them may not be able to answer, which is Timbuktu. The buying and selling of books made more money than copper, gold, and salt. So we have to realize this is time for us to wake up. Because before there was any sun, any moon, any stars, we were there. The black man is the foundation of everything, but we are not featured in the education. So it's just training us to be servants, to be for the former slave masters and his children. Thank you very much.
5 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock in the morning time. It's an open line forum. Someone says, a contributor says, they raising concern as to what they dub as the highway in Mount Gay, and they're calling on authorities to install speed bumps. A highway. I wasn't aware that there was one there. It's quite interesting. 435-2041, that's the number on the inside. That number allows you to post your comments as well on our WhatsApp portal, and it allows you to reach us directly in this studio. We want to say good morning to those of you that's chiming in via the social media platform, Facebook, that is. Brenda Fleming out of Trinidad and Tobago, Peter Mitchell and others. Lady Alexander in New York. It is always a pleasure having you here and being part of this engagement. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, caller, you're live. Good morning, caller, you are live. We seem to have lost that caller. 5 minutes on to the hour, folks. We're getting to the point where we have to wrap up the conversation here and now. But certainly we want to say thanks to each and every one of you that was part of the conversation. And we do encourage you as you go through the weekend that you find some time, Grenada, to rest. Find some time to rest. Reminding you, COVID-19, yes, find your bubble. Stay within your bubble. This country within social media says the police have now lowered their standards to the lowest treader of the ladder by asking a blind man if he had a suspect in the stealing of his produce. And this only, the contribution by Mr. Rollo, by the caller, only highlights the challenge we have here in Grenada regarding predial larceny. It's a conversation, but in order to really curb the problem, it's a change of culture, and it starts at home. Basically encouraging and saying to your children, it's not yours, leave it alone. And it starts at home. It's not just the police, but we need to start re-educating our generation to come, the younger ones. If it's not yours, you leave it alone. I grew up in an era where if I came home with something, a pencil, simple as it may be, that wasn't mine, I was told to return it to the owner. And God forbid the owner was living in Grenville, because it would have meant that I had to traverse to Grenville to get it to them. Parents need to start taking responsibility for their children and imparting values onto their children. And you said that it starts there, and personal responsibility, each and every one of us taking responsibility for who we are and what happens and then on this little piece of rock that is called Grenada. Until then, we say thanks to each and every one, our listeners and our viewers, to you wherever you are. Thanks for being part of the broadcast. The weekend is literally upon us. For some, for others, we continue to work like myself, but we want to encourage folks to continue to live life, love life, and continue to be the best version of yourself as we continue to celebrate our 40th anniversary of independence as a people. Until then, so long, everybody.